Do they have salmon and...
No, there's no food in clubs.
Oh, then it's been a long time. I had a club sandwich about a month ago. That's not...
No.
Anyway, here we go on a Tuesday.
Yes.
So Andrew Luck retires, and let's do the chronological order of what happened. He retires, people boo, he holds a press conference, people like me defend him, and then now comes the second wave of reactions. Steve Berline, 18 years in the NFL. Excuse me, 18 surgeries in the NFL, football at Notre Dame, from California, played in the NFL, now a broadcaster and a very good one. He came out yesterday. He didn't like, and by the way, this takes guts because everybody's petrified of the Twitter mob. Everybody is so PC now in sports that if you have an opinion that's contrary into the Twitter movement, you get crushed. And Berline came out yesterday, a guy with 18 surgeries in the NFL, and he goes, I'm a huge Andrew Luck fan, always have been. But I can't defend or justify no scenario where retirement's indefensible. To do this to teammates, organizations, fans, NFL 2 weeks before the season's not right. I love the guy. This is going to haunt him. Okay, he needs his team, needs him to make a run. I know rehab's tough. I had 19 surgeries, 8 over 2 years. It sucks, but he owes it to his team. It's just a lower leg injury. It will heal. Just give it a chance. If it doesn't, walk away from it this year. The millions he walked away from affects only him. The decision affects the team, the organization, the fan base, the entire NFL. All had invested in him for this year at least. Walk away after the season. Okay? He needs, his team needs him. Okay, so by the way, I appreciate anybody on social media who's willing to have an opinion, right or wrong, that doesn't fall right in line with the masses because it's so PC and everybody's petrified to get run over by the avalanche known as Twitter. First of all, I'm good with Luck's retirement because of the circumstances surrounding it. Therefore, I can justify it even with really bad timing. Obviously, it'd be way better in April to do this right before the draft. Of course, the timing wasn't perfect. So to me, circumstances make this retirement okay for me. But I will say this, and I read this the last 24 hours. I heard all sorts of people saying, who are we to say this and who are we to do that? We're sports media, and there's political media, and there's tech media, and we have opinions, and you don't have to like them. Don't tell me that all retirements are equal and that we should celebrate all players equally. I will celebrate Luck because I thought he inherited a tire fire, took him to far greater heights than they deserved, and now is living with some chronic current pain. I'm all in on him. But let me throw this out to you. Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes gets to the Super Bowl. They're playing the Philadelphia Eagles. And Patrick Mahomes, Saturday night, retires saying, I can't take the stress. I am mentally exhausted. We all good with that? Leaders do not bail on the infantry heading into battle. This is why you ask when you draft a quarterback about mom and about dad and about family and about cousins. How will you handle the money? How will you handle the stress? This is why we blame Big Ben for some of Antonio Brown's pushback. We hold quarterbacks to different standards. We pay them more. We ask more brutal questions in the draft process. This is why. Not all retire. If Russell Wilson, Joe Buck calls the World Series for us, and Joe Buck calls the Super Bowl for us. One of the reasons, and there's thousands of great play-by-play guys in America, one of the reasons we pay Joe that is we know 4 minutes before the first pitch, he's not going to go, I'm freaking out. I can't do this. You pay for a lot of things for quarterbacks, not just he's got a big arm and wow, he can really run. You pay for maturity and leadership and toughness and guile and mettle and durability, and sometimes you don't get an A+ with all of those. Andrew Luck's retirement is justified based on what he inherited, what he overcame, and what he is now dealing with. But if you look at the history of Hall of Fame quarterbacks, they have one thing in common. It is not size. It is not arm strength. It is not mobility. It is not dominant in college. Hell, half of them we didn't even see play in college. It is not you went in the first round. With all of them, with no exception, they were all great leaders. And leaders don't bail on their men. Schwarzkopf to Patton to Kobe to Michael to LeBron to Brady before battle. Unless, like Andrew Luck, it is justifiable physically, which in my opinion, it is. But if Andrew would have retired a couple of days ago because the stress of playing is too much, he would have deserved criticism instead of deserving what he received overwhelmingly, which was condolences for the injuries. We feel terrible for your decision. This is actually courageous. Go get him, man. Not all retirements should be treated equally. Quarterbacks are defined by leadership qualities, and leaders should never, if at all physically possible, bail on a team right before the big mission. Let me switch to this. So Aaron Rodgers talked about, and he's obviously going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, super, super talented guy. He did not like how Andrew Luck was treated by the fans in Indianapolis when the announcement came in late in the game.
I thought it was pretty disgusting. He's making a really tough decision. And even before that, he makes a decision. I don't know why that doesn't stay in-house to kind of protect them a little bit. Although, when I think about it, I thought it would have been, more of a standing ovation type thing and a thank you than boos.
Aaron, you're a smart guy. You're smarter than this. Sudden, jarring, bad news always equals confusion and usually equals initial anger. Throw in 4 Bud Lights and you expect fans to contextualize it perfectly in the minute? Okay, go to social media for 5 minutes. Reaction without context. That is Twitter. The fans who were at that game were hanging around in the fourth quarter of a preseason game. Those are diehards, okay? Those aren't fans. Those are the diehards. They've named all their pets after Andrew Luck. Okay? So I find the reaction to the fans' reaction equally ridiculous. Organizations and the NFL and stadiums and teams encourage fans to drink. When you're in a stadium, Budweiser, Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Light, drinks, this, that, it's everywhere in stadiums. It's everywhere outside of stadiums. There's this beer truck and that beer truck and this tailgate and that tailgate, then there's commercials. So fans drink. That's why marketing works. That's why we can charge so much for commercials. Secondly, there is something called the mob mentality. Psychology, look it up. I'm not making it up. People tend to be more aggressive when you put them in groups. If you put groups of men together, they get a little more courageous and a little more aggressive and a few more catcalls. These are real things. So, fan equals fanatic, alcohol added, a mob mentality in the fourth quarter of an NFL game, and you expected people to give a standing ovation off sudden, jarring, really terrible news for people who pay a lot of money to go to NFL games? Media, get off your high horse. Aaron Rodgers, you're smarter than that. I mean, by the way, Aaron says, I wish it didn't go public. I bet the Packers wish sometimes Aaron Rodgers' issues didn't always go public. But Aaron's initial reaction sometimes is to talk to the media, and deep down he probably wishes, why did I say that? Folks, media, give the fans a break. After they listened to the press conference, after they read the local columnist, after they could add some information and context to it, everybody supported Andrew Luck. He's going to be fine. But this people's reaction to the fans' reaction to me is equally ridiculous. We don't hold the fans to the same standard that Joy and I are held to. We come in, we do 3 hours of prep, we read a bunch of stuff. We can take a break, have breakfast, think, how should I address this? How should this land? If you gave me horrible news about one of my kids, and it was bad news and it was sudden and I didn't know it was coming, guess what? My reaction is going to be, and by the way, add 4 Bud Lights. What do you think my reaction would be? High horse, media, stop already. The fans' reaction was precisely how most fan bases would react. And for the record, 80% of the people, 90% of the people weren't booing. A little less than half reacted that way. Wasn't the whole stadium. It was 40 or 50% of the people who had stuck around for the fourth quarter of a preseason game, 4 Bud Lights in. Chill out. All right, coming up next, there is a new way to get really good players in the NFL. It is not free agency. It is not the draft. And I believe it is going to be a really cool trend in the National Football League. And it might not be as big as the draft. And it might not be as big as free agency. But I think we're going to see a new trend. And that is coming up next. You've heard me talk about ButcherBox, the high-quality protein, for months now. If you haven't taken advantage of their offer, now is the time. Every month, ButcherBox delivers humanely raised 100% grass-fed beef, organic chicken, heritage breed pork, and wild-caught Alaska salmon directly to your door. Curated boxes, customize your own box with all your favorite cuts. I go heavy on the ground beef and the salmon. All right? And this month, ButcherBox is offering new members a deal. $20 off your first box, plus free ground beef for the life of your subscription. Got to go to butcherbox.com/HER.